Jim, what did you think of Jamie Blanks' Urban Legend?
I thought it was a really fun movie. It was the first time I'd seen it. I always love a slasher movie with a gimmick, or where the killer has.
I do love me some
gimmick
heavy slasher. That's the thing. Whether it's a holiday, whether it's a dumb way that someone kills someone, it's a personal favorite of mine as well.
And also, I really like the kills. Again, I think my favorite was the Dean. But even like the side kills, like the dog in the microwave.
Dean was good. Microwave Pooch was great.
The hanging was a little lackluster, but it was nice. It was neat to see, you know. Yeah, what else? Oh yeah, what was her name? Tosh getting strangled. That was great. I thought that was a fantastic scene.
Okay.
Like a genuinely terrifying scene as well. Again, I was watching it with my girlfriend, and she goes, "Oh my God, could you imagine? Oh, that'd be terrible. Oh my God." So clearly, she was disturbed by that. But yeah, I just really, really enjoyed the movie.
I have a feeling Danielle Harris is into being choked, though. Just throwing that out there, but I don't know that for a fact. I have listened to a little bit of her. I have listened to a little bit of her podcast, and they do discuss sexual kinks fairly frequently, so it's possible it's come up. Yeah, so you like the movie?
Yes, yeah. So how about you? I assume you liked it.
Not that much. I don't hate it or anything. It's just not my type of movie. I don't like the 90s slashers for the most part. Like, I do think Scream is a legitimately great movie. And I guess I'm talking the post-Scream 90s movies, 90s slashers, because Candyman's before all that. Wes Craven's New Nightmares before Scream. Like, those are great movies. But I'm not really sure why this doesn't work for me so much. I don't know. I mean, the kills are fine. You mentioned a couple that are pretty good. I think the Dean one was great. Tosh scene was a very effective scene. I thought the Sasha scene, the Tara Reid death, was pretty effective.
Yeah.
Those are only really those are kind of the only scenes that stood out to me for the most part. The characters I didn't love. Damon was obnoxious, even though they kill him off fairly early. I don't know. It just didn't work as much for me as I would hope it would. I think the characters are a big problem. Natalie not really bringing up the coat thing and not really making an effort to convince Paul of anything. But then Paul eventually comes back to her after doubting her. And then they throw in a thing where she doubts him at the end because after he says the phones are dead, she picks up the phone to make sure that he's telling the truth. And it's like, I don't know. The Paul Natalie stuff didn't work too well for me. The Brenda being into Paul seems like it was thrown in like last second. Like that was like not part of the movie basically, and it's like it didn't have a huge impact. But
I don't know how I'd feel about this movie if I was to, let's say, rewatch it a year from now. I think one of the most exciting things for me about this movie...
Well, at that point, we'll be at war with the machines.
I think other than the gimmick, the enjoyment that I got out of the movie really stemmed from...
The gimmick, let's be clear first of all, the gimmick being the urban legend-inspired murders. The premise, really, of the movie.
I got my enjoyment out of the twists and turns, or I should say the curveballs that the plot was throwing at you. Okay. Especially from the very beginning with like Brad Dourif and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, well, and that's another thing I didn't point out. I know we talked about this earlier, but that was a standout scene. The kill itself, not fantastic, but it was just a good scene overall with Brad Dourif.
Well, and I think Brad Dourif, I mean, he just did a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
He was so believable. I don't know if I'd like it as much as I did, but I really enjoyed it, probably because it's the first time I ever saw it.
There's something about this era of slasher movies that just doesn't work for me. I don't know what it is. And again, Scream is great, but it's something about like they're trying to be like young and hip and kind of tongue-in-cheek like and referring to all these other things. And it's just like, and then it's like the fashion, which the fashion didn't strike me as too awful in this movie. It's worse in Final Destination. That was like embarrassing what people were wearing in that movie. Yeah. But like, I think it was mostly Damon's face. I just couldn't stand looking at that guy. I don't know. It's just, it's just not my favorite type of slasher movie, I guess. I mean, I'll like, it's not awful. I'll probably end up seeing this movie again, but wouldn't go out of my way to see it again, I suppose.